What's up, guys? It's James here from Jraegames, and I'm back with another PlayStation VR to PC tutorial. And today is a special feature. We're going to cover three things that I feel are super important for you to get a good experience with your PlayStation VR on the PC. And first thing you're going to notice, the first sort of feature is the head tracking that we're using is Nolo. We're going to discuss that, which is our positional tracking system. You'll also notice that the VR headset itself is the newer version, the version 2, which is awesome because clearly I will demonstrate that it works perfectly with this. And the third little bonus is that we will be featuring Fallout 4 VR, which is arguably one of the most anticipated games for PC VR of the year. And so I will show you how that plays, and I will show you how it is possible to use your PlayStation VR to play that without a lot of headache or setup. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss this. All right, well, the first thing I want to talk about before we jump into this is the Nolo tracking system. And this is not a new tracking system. The company itself started out as a Kickstarter about a year ago. But it works really, really well. And I didn't jump on the kind of bandwagon right away. I wanted to make sure all the kinks were worked out before I got into this, and I'm really glad I did. You can see here, if I show you each component of it, it comes with a base station, which obviously is used to detect where the head tracker and the controllers are in space. And this can be mounted either horizontally so that it picks up horizontal movements, and it actually does a pretty good job of positional 360 that way as well. Or you can mount this on your ceiling just like this, and that gives you full room scale tracking as well. I'll probably do another video for the optimal setup of that at some point, but basically all you do is you take your little headset tracker and you put a little attachment to your headset, and it doesn't matter whether it's a mobile VR, PlayStation VR, Pimax, whatever you have, and it just clicks into here, and that's it. It's attached. It attaches by a micro USB and runs to your computer, and also the controller, same idea. All right, so this is an example of one of the controllers, and you can see that the buttons match the Vive controllers pretty much exactly. The build quality is really good. It's very super accurate, very fluid, easy to set up. I had no real issues with it. I will talk about the one issue that I did have, which was not Nolo's fault. It was a fault of the software. But we will talk about that, and again, I'll show you just kind of the setup for this. This is a fantastic solution for positional tracking for any VR headset on the PC. And you might be starting to think, okay, well, I've got the PSVR. I just spent money for that. And now you're asking me to go and buy the Nolo, which is like $169, I believe, what it is right now. When you add up the value of everything that you're getting, and if you own a PS4, and you look at that, you have the entire library of PlayStation 4 games, and now you have the Steam and Rift libraries as well, not to mention the non-VR stuff that will play through Trinus also. It's a real excellent value for your money. And even with the PSVR with Nolo, is still not as expensive as buying the Rift, even at the reduced price that they have right now. So you can think about it that way. Again, the amount that you want to spend, I also have videos on using the PS Move service method, which does work as well. But if you're willing to spend a bit for Nolo, I think it's honestly worth it. It's super accurate. It does a really, really good job, and you don't have to mess around with any of the controller button settings or whatever. Everything just works right away because it does match the Vive controller so closely. Anyways, we're going to get into the setup for this. I'm going to show you two kind of setups that you can do, and then we'll look at how it actually plays in the game. All right, okay, just to show you how it looks set up, there's the base station sitting on top of the Nolo box. They recommend it to be about a shoulder height, but this still works really, really well. And down on the floor, I've got my PlayStation VR with the tracker on top, and both controllers facing the headset, the base station. And if you look, I'm just going to kind of back up a little bit here. You don't need a huge amount of space for this type of tracking, and it is very, very good. So those of you who maybe have a reduced amount of space in your gaming room or your office or whatever, this will work really, really well. There is also the option, and I'm just going to show you just on the ceiling here, I have a little strip of Velcro there next to the light, and that just attaches to the back of the base station. I just attached that Velcro strip to it, and I can also set it up that way as well, and that's going to give me a bigger area, bigger room scale sort of area to play in. But like I said, both methods work really, really well. And so if space is an issue, as you can tell, it doesn't take a lot of space. And that base station is able to capture quite a wide area. So even though it is horizontal and it is just one base station, it does get very, very good tracking, even at 360 when I'm turned around and not facing the base station. Okay, we are ready to test out the actual setup now. And like I said, I'm probably going to have a separate video for the actual setup of the Nolo itself, but it is very straightforward, and the thing I like about it is it just works. It works right out of the box. You don't have to mess with anything. As long as you got a good set, it works great. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the Nolo software by double-clicking, and down in my taskbar here, it will tell me that it's connected. The base station is connected. Controllers are not yet connected. I always do that after the fact, but I'm going to turn the base station on by pressing the power button at the top, and I know you can't see it, but it is turning on, and the light is now green on the headset. And what I'm going to do is just double check that, make sure nothing has changed here, everything's good. And now I'm going to run my Trinus, and I'll probably lose you for a second because it's going in administration mode. And we'll load that up, and we have the headset sitting on the ground nice and even so we can start it up. But before we do that, I just want to talk about two things. First of all, the Nolo VR option has to be turned on. Under advanced, do not use the Nolo orientation. It's horrible. All right, so don't turn that on thinking, you know, it says Nolo. Don't bother with that option. Use the headset orientation. It's much more accurate. My problem that I had for the longest time, and I thought that my Nolo base station was broken, was that when my headset centered, it actually centered 180 degrees backward. And I know a few other people had that same issue. But that's a real easy fix. If that happens to you, if you notice every time you center your headset, it's turning you around, just go to yaw offset here, set it to 180. And what that'll do is it'll spin you around the correct way. So that tripped me up, and I'm hoping that my time wasted saves you guys some time if that happens to you. My old headset, my VR1, never did that. So this is a new issue. Now that I'm ready, I'm going to hit start. And we're going to see that it's calibrating our sensor. It's nice and even, like I said, nice and level, so it's going to make it perfect. There it is. And now what I'm going to do, I already have Steam running. I'm now going to jump into SteamVR. And that is in administration mode as well. And you'll notice it jumps in right away pretty fast. And I'm going to just Alt-Tab, select the headset window, and I'm going to use Shift Windows Right to send it to the headset. Now, just so you can see what I see, I'm going to go down to VR and I'm going to display the mirror so you guys can see. And you'll notice right now, it looks like nothing is showing up. And the reason for that is in order for Nolo to register the play area correctly, the headset has to be sitting on the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk over to the headset right now, and on the headset marker, the Nolo headset marker, there's a little button that I have to press, and that is going to register the floor of the game area. So I'll just go do that. Give me 1 sec. And you notice when I do that, it says room setting is finished down here, and we can now see the room. We can see that we're facing the right way. Everything is good. Now we are ready to play. Now again, don't worry if it disappears because it's right on the floor. Steam doesn't like that very much. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually switch views. I'm going to switch to another camera I have set up to show you my gameplay. But I'm going to walk over to there, and the rest is going to be set up now with me standing up using the headset. Okay, so here I am. I've got the headset and I'm picking it up, and you'll notice that it is adjusting on screen for me standing up and picking it up. You can see that it's adjusting the height. I'm going to put the headset on. Just going to put it on, and I can see that it looks great. I'm going to pick up my Nolo controllers. Here they are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them on while pointing towards the base station. Okay, one at a time. I'm going to turn it on. And I should see a controller. There it is. And if I ever have any sort of stutter or my orientation isn't perfect, all I have to do is double click the controller, and that solves that. So once again, next controller, turn that on. And there's the second controller. Once again, double click, and you'll see that I am tracking beautifully. Alright, so at this point right now, as you can see, totally positional. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. Everything is working great. I can move around. I got my forward and back positional tracking. My headset's being tracked, and I've got my controllers, and they are tracking beautifully. I'm going to jump into Fallout now. Launch, and here we go. Alright, so Fallout should load up. Here we go. And we are in the game. Now, let's just let that load up. I'm not going to watch the intro video. I'm going to jump right into the game so you guys can see how it looks. There we go. And you can see that the scrolly wheel, I don't know if you can see that, but it can tell where my finger is on the controller on both. Alright, which is kind of cool. I'm going to hit load. I'm going to just load a quick game here that I started. I just basically got past the beginning so you guys can actually see the exploration part of it. And a little bit of how the gameplay is going to look as well while you're playing this. But you can see that my hands are tracking beautifully already without me having to do anything. It just works, and it works right away, and it works really, really well. And here we go. So you can see I'm looking at my Pip-Boy. Alright, I'm looking at it in real life, and right now I have direct movement on, which means basically my finger is controlling my walking. Alright, it's kind of funny. I don't remember. Oh, there we go. I didn't remember how to pull out a gun, but there we go. It looks great. It looks awesome. And to be totally honest, I mean, Bethesda did a great job here on this game, as we kind of knew they would. It feels great in VR, but I will say this. And I know I'm going to get a little bit of flack from those who are hardcore PC gamers. I will say that I feel that Skyrim for PS4 is a more refined experience. I feel like Skyrim, they maybe spent a little more time, and maybe because the PS4 has more buttons, it feels a little bit, for whatever reason, it feels a little more natural on the PS4 when I'm playing Skyrim than it does on the PC here playing Fallout 4. And it has nothing to do with the game. Alright, the game is running beautifully. It's very smooth, it's very fluid. You can see when I turn, it turns. When I aim, I can look down the reticle of the gun. It looks awesome. That's not the problem. I just feel like the controls with a Vive controller maybe are not as solid as the PlayStation Move. It just feels like it almost feels like it was kind of forced onto this control scheme. But it still plays really good. You know, it feels really awesome to shoot that gun. And these controllers, just like the Vive controllers, have built-in vibration, so you can feel, you know, the kickback a little bit of the gun as you're playing. Now you can see it's running beautifully. You are very limited on the graphic settings. So basically what you see is what you get. And I think that was maybe intentional, that they wanted it to run as good as possible. But as you can tell, guys, it's running perfectly. Alright, I am totally immersed in this. I feel like I'm here in the world of Fallout, which, to be totally honest, is a dream that I think all of us maybe have had if we like this game. You know, always hoping to have that next level of immersion. And this is great. I can move around within the space, I can turn, and as you can see, everything is just tracking beautifully. Alright, it's really cool with the Pip-Boy that you can lift up your arm and you can look at it. I think that's a really neat touch. So it is running perfectly, and hours and hours to come probably of gameplay here, enjoying this. It is really, really a great experience. Alright, so that's Fallout. Again, I'm not going to play too much, but you can see that it works exactly as expected. And this is with a PSVR on the PC. It is fantastic. Okay, so just to sum up here, I'm just going to close the game. Just to sum up, this game plays really, really well. And you do not need to buy a Vive. You do not need to buy a Rift. If you own a PSVR and you want to play this game on the computer, you can clearly see just from my short demonstration here that it works beautifully. If you are going to go and get the Nolo, if you're going to spend a little bit of extra money to get a good tracking system, then it really, really helps. And the accuracy is fantastic. It's fluid, it responds to your motions. It's a really, really excellent positional tracking system. And the neat thing is, you can play on mobile, you can play on Pimax, you can play on DK2. It doesn't have to be Vive, it doesn't have to be Rift, it could be PSVR. Whatever you've got, it's going to work, because all it's looking for is that headset tracker and the controllers. And like I said, I'll probably have a second video coming up where I mount it to the ceiling and you can actually see the play area that I am inside of. In this game, in Fallout, you can play 90% of the game facing forward. Alright, with the turn button there, you really don't need to walk around in any sort of space. It can even be played as a seated experience as well. Anyways, I hope that this was an informational and useful video for you guys. Please comment below. Let me know what you want to see. I'm always reading the comments, and as you probably noticed, I'm always replying to the comments. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like. That always helps the channel out. And be sure to stay tuned. I'm going to have a lot more content coming up now with this new stuff. And I will also be posting videos on alternate solutions for positional tracking that you're going to see as well if you don't want to spend the extra money to buy Nolo. Alright, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Take care. Till next time. Hope to see you in VR.